And welcome to the HS Game Time Live Blitz. I'm Pep Fernandez, David Zink on the other end, and sandwiched in between us, the man of the hour, head coach of your Centennial Huskies, Matt Logan. And Zink, we're pleased to have him here. A lot of big news with Centennial going on right now around the football program.
In meat and potatoes of Inland Empire football, Centennial football. No, we were just going before we went on air. So, Coach Logan, you're a busy guy, and it's very nice of you to come down here and talk to us. But, I mean, in doing so, the hard questions come out first. So this year you got a crazy preseason schedule. Tell us about that.
We do. Our program is built on competition, and I think we got probably the most competitive schedule that we've ever had. We open up with Mater Day in an event game down at Mission Viejo. Then the next week's down at Oceanside against Orange Lutheran. And then we get to host Bishop Gorman, and then Long Beach Poly back-to-back. And then we go to Bishop Amat, and then get a week off before we go to the Big 8.
And who do you start in the Big 8?
We start off with King this year.
There's no easing up, I guess.
No, not at all. We believe that our kids come out on the practice field every day to compete, and we want we're showing that through our schedule too. We want to compete as a team, and again, it's just that kind of you want to get to that level, and those are the teams that are going to take you to that level.
With that kind of schedule, it's like a gauntlet. So really, when they say we only prepare week to week to week, it's truly you can only prepare week to week to week, right? You can't go looking 3 weeks out. You lose sight of week 2, week 1, you get yourself hurt.
I've lost too many games to look weeks out, so we always make sure we take care of the week at hand. I've never done anything planned ahead. I mean, I can't even think of an instance where that's ever been the case. We always play week to week, and we preach that to our kids, and we believe we do that through our coaching. We prove that in our action.
Well, you have a very deep program, but you lost a lot of great talent from last year's team. Quarterback, receivers. You lost your best linemen. I'm sure you've got other guys to fill those positions. Do you feel confident with that?
Every year, that's one of the great things about high school football. Your kid, every year it's different. You might have 1 or 2 returners, at a specific position or something, but every year it's different. And we'll probably go through some growing pains. I mean, we're going to be, as you mentioned, we're going to be new at quarterback. We're going to be inexperienced, at least at the varsity level. And right now I've got 4 kids competing for it. So that's a lot, and when you got a game really a month away.
4 kids competing for it?
Not a month away, but 4 kids competing for a game 4 months away. So we got to start, putting them in game-like situations to see who can develop and how they handle when bad things come up, because that's what the mark of a quarterback is, But so it just comes down to competition and kids getting ready to get their opportunity to play.
Any of those kids had a varsity snap?
A couple of them did last year. They got a few reps in here and there. Yeah.
So I mean, but your stock, obviously you do a lot with offense, but you guys also usually have a pretty good defense. You've also been through these things where you've had to put new quarterbacks into the system, at least in the last 6 years, multiple times, and it always seems you seem to be like a cat. You always land on your feet. I mean, you really do. You have some really, Robert Weber turned out to be a pretty solid guy, And right before him, excuse me, I forget his name, but Hayden Gavitt. Yeah. I mean, he kind of jumped in and kind of did. I mean, do you see that again?
Yeah, I hope so. Knock on wood that we get one of whoever ends up taking the job, or maybe it is going to be by committee. Who knows at this point, but. Hopefully they'll step in and run the offense and execute it like we want them to and like our expectations are.
Okay, so this season you got a crazy preseason, then you have your same crazy Big 8 season and everything else that goes along with that. But looking 2 years out, I hear a lot of rumor out there that the Big 8 is going to be in the Pac-5, in 2000. I guess that'd be 15. What are you hearing, and is any of that true?
That's what I'm hearing too. I think that'll be the case actually this fall. So this fall we'll be in the Pac-5. So we'll find out in a little less than a month, I think, here when they do the final rolling. But it looks all signs are pointing that way. And again, hey, if that's the best division, it's a great opportunity for us to compete in it.
Is that kind of get boiled blood, make you happy, ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to compete at the highest level? That's what it's all about. I mean, we end up playing those teams at some point in time down the line. So, I think the tough thing will be, when you look at the playoff brackets. I think when you're in our division, maybe that first round game, you're probably going to win unless you play really bad. But I think at that next level up, I mean, you're going to have a ball game that first round game. So that's going to be interesting. But we're looking forward to the challenge, and looking forward to competing at the highest level there is in Southern California.
So
now I know how calculated you are as a coach, as a person, that you know exactly what this leads to this. That's where you're comfortable, correct?
I don't know if I have a crystal ball, but it's
not a crystal ball, but you definitely put your ducks in a row to make sure you know what you're talking about, correct?
We try to.
With that being said, your preseason schedule, was that in any way influenced by the fact you might have thought you'd be going to the Pac-5? You're like, well, we might as well just go trial by fire to get out the gate, so we're ready, battle-tested, ready to go.
Preseason schedules get real interesting. One, we're in 2 event games, which are good. Good for a couple reasons. One, usually they're for a common charity or a cause, and so it's great to play in something like that. It's usually a pretty big deal in terms of the teams that are involved in it. So we're in 2 of those games. So those, you really don't know who your opponent's going to be. You don't really have control over that. You just kind of agree to play in it. And obviously it's a road game because you're not playing at home. They will call and say, hey, do you mind playing so-and-so? And I always say, I don't care what time we play. I don't care who we play. Just, I just want to play somebody good. And so those 2 games are kind of out of our control. The other 3 we have a little bit of control on. But, it really wasn't a situation where we're trying to set ourselves up for the Pac-5. Because I think one of the worst things you want to do is play somebody twice. So we're playing, 4 Trinity teams or 3 Trinity teams and 1 more league. So, I mean, we could end up seeing one of those teams again. It's very possible if we are indeed in the Pac-5. So, I don't think there was so much of a mastermind behind it as just trying to play competitive teams. I mean, ideally, I think probably every coach would sit here and tell you, oh, we'd like to play 3 competitive, 3 tough teams and 2 teams that we could probably win. Maybe out the gate, maybe have that first one, So, our quarterback's going to go out there with very limited reps and open up against modern day in an event game. So if you talk about being thrown to the fire right out of the bat, that's what he's going to be dealt with. So
you're not sandbagging that first game then.
Yeah, that's right. No.
All right, so Coach, just to clarify, these are CIF meetings that will take place, I think it's like May 9th. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, David, yeah.
And effective this fall, like this upcoming season. Right. Now, I do some sports updates on KCAL, and I was trying to tell them about this big Centennial Bishop Gorman game when it was all over Twitter. Are you on Twitter? I've looked for you.
I follow. I don't tweet, but I follow people.
He creeps.
Yeah, follow other people. You're not the only coach. I've heard a lot of coaches do that. They get a Twitter account just to see what other people are doing.
It's my daughters, honestly. It doesn't keep tabs on my daughters.
Well,
so.
I hear you. I can't blame you there. But I was trying to relate it to him. It's like you guys getting Bishop Gorman was like USC scheduling Alabama or something like that. I was trying to put it into context for them that this is a big game. For people who aren't familiar with Bishop Gorman, I mean, what kind of a team are you expecting from Las Vegas?
Well, they're a national power year in and year out, and it was a situation where because of the decision that was made, I think a month or 2 ago by CIF to re-league some of the private schools, they ended up having an opening week 2, which we did as well. And we're, here it is again, season starts in 4 months, and we don't have a full schedule yet. So I'd heard they had an opening, so we made a phone call, and it worked out good.
Well, they obviously would love to play you, too. I think they probably have the same respect for Centennial football as you would have for Bishop Gorman, along with all the other schools. I'm sure that this is going to make for a fun fall. I can't wait to see how these games play out.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I mean, it's a lot of great matchups right out of the gate, and I think, we'll find out what we're made of, that's for sure. And I also think we're going to have some growing pains in there, too. So, but we're going to learn a lot. Well, yeah, that's the best thing is when you play good people, you find out what you need to work on right away. I mean, it's much better to be in a situation where you lose a game to a really tough team, and you learn so much more than you do go and beat somebody by 50 points. So we welcome the challenge.
And then you walk into league, and you got guys like Blake Barnett that you have to go up against, a good young quarterback who's obviously getting bigger, better, and stronger, all those things. And I hear that Santiago's going to probably be improved over this past year for next year. You got Norco's got a year under their belt under the new regime and that kind of thing. So it just doesn't get any easier. I mean, do you live for the fall? I mean, is that something you really just live for? Or sometimes you think, God, are we doing this again?
Well, we talk to our kids about this all the time, how this sport is so labor intensive. I mean, I know the 7-on-7 teams and all that stuff has kind of, become fun or whatever, a big deal now, but it's not real football. So really, you do all this work to play those 10 games that you're only guaranteed to play, So it's a lot of work. So we always tell how it's a labor sport, and you got to love this game to do it. And can't wait to get started. Can't wait to get started. I mean, we're in spring ball right now, and it's exciting just knowing that we're prepping for those games in the fall right now.
So have you talked with totally changing gears here? Have you talked with Sutton about the draft? Do you know anything about where he's going to be, what he's going to be doing as far as that? I know you got every year you got at least somebody being looked at in the draft. And heck, last year you got Vontez breaking through. You got other guys breaking through. I mean, you got a lot of guys going in the pros now. So do you see? I'm horrible with names. Sutton.
Will Sutton.
Will Sutton.
You know, he's going to be. Looks like he's going to be our first player ever drafted out of Centennial. So that's exciting. I saw him. I'm going to say probably about a month ago. He came by and it was in preparations for getting ready for the combine actually, and he looked good, looked really good. So they're saying anywhere from the 2nd to 4th round. I just hope it works out where it's a good situation for him, where he gets an opportunity to compete and play and earn that money playing a sport that he loves to play. And it's been great with Vontez with the Bengals, and I think he had the highest. Made the most incentive money, I think, out of all the players in the NFL this year, so I think that put him at $1 million, so that's awesome for him. And Matt Scott being re-signed on the Jaguars, and then Brandon McGee was with the Cleveland Browns. So we've got, 3 guys out there, and this is Taylor Martinez's year too, so it's his opportunity to try to hook on with somebody, and he actually, he worked out at 3 positions on his pro day. So we'll kind of see what ends up happening with him. It's going to be kind of interesting. He worked at quarterback, receiver, and DB, so.
Well, I get notes from Taylor, and Taylor's also programming now. I guess he's he's got apps in the App Store now. Did you know that, Coach?
That's awesome.
He's actually selling apps in the App Store. Yeah, one's called like Bounce or something like that. But it sounds like Taylor.
Well, you just mentioned all these great players that have come through your program, and I just recently read on Max Preps that in the last decade, I don't know if you saw this or not, they have you ranked as the 2nd top program in California behind De La Salle, of course, but they have you guys at number 2 in the last decade. You just mentioned all those great players that have come through there. What does that say about your programming? For a decade, you've been steady and on top and one of the best in California.
We've been very fortunate to have a lot of great players come through and a pretty stable coaching staff. So I credit goes to those 2 factors right there alone, and a school that is super supportive of all kids, not just football, but of all kids programs, and gives us the opportunities to be able to compete at this high level. I mean, there's a lot of schools that may not get the opportunity to play some of the events that we get to play in, or do some of the things we've been able to do. So it's been great. It's kind of a group effort that the reason why we've had the success we had, and hopefully we can continue that.
And that's a huge tradition. So another tradition that I want to start with you, and I was going to see if I can make it okay with you first before I did it, because I just don't want to jump the gun and then you say, Zink, you're being a jackass. So the truth be, I found some houndstooth cloth. If I made you a pair of houndstooth shorts, would you start wearing them to games? Bear Bryant wore a houndstooth hat for a lot of years, and that was his insignia. And I thought, there's no other guy who plays it as tough and for as long as Bear Bryant is Matt Logan.
Red and black, of course. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got the black and the white. You got the red shirt on. I think it looked great. What do you think?
Houndstooth sounds like it's a pretty thick, heavy material. I don't. The reason we wear shorts is because it's hotter than heck. So I'm kind of partial to my dry fit. Can you get a dry fit version of it?
I could always try and find out. I did find some material. My mother-in-law passed away recently. She had a bunch of material in her closet, and we pulled it down. I said, God, this would be perfect for Matt Logan. Be perfect. I would make you a hat, but you wouldn't wear it. I know that.
Yeah, hat would be too hot. Maybe some underwear that I can wear underneath the shorts for those cold games.
So
late in December,
when you win,
state title.
but when you win the whole thing, you'll just jump to your boxers and run on through. Then.
That's right. That's what I'll do.
Okay, that's way out of line. I apologize. And the second question I had: how's Sammy doing down at Fullerton, and how things going down there for her?
It's been great for her. It was kind of an interesting situation because when she was an early signee, and then they had a coaching change. So it wasn't the staff that brought her in. All the coaches weren't retained that brought her in. So she ended up kind of having to deal with a new coaching staff, but everything worked out. She ended up starting, I think, over half the games, and she made freshman all Big West. So it's been real exciting. And she really likes the college life. She loves the travel and all the things that come along with it. So she's having a good time. She's really motivated for next year.
Is she really? That's great. When I saw that she was starting, I thought, how fantastic is that? I mean, as a freshman to be able to start in any conference, let alone the Big West.
Yeah, it is nice because she's close enough to where I can get to most games. So it's been, I didn't fly to Hawaii. Hawaii's in their conference. That was the one I missed. But I was able to get to most of even to some of the away games. The Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara's, they're close enough. UC Davis's. So it's been as a father, it's so much fun to watch your kid go out there and play and compete. So
So with all the changes and everything else, I guess we're going to stick with color schemes and things on the uniforms. Uniforms basically the same, you know, so everyone knows that that's Centennial walking on the field. Are you going crazy like all the other high schools have in the last 5 years?
We are actually changing this year, so we'll have a new helmet and a new redesigned C, and we had to get new uniforms because the other ones were discontinued, so that we didn't really have a choice on that one. So we'll be probably I get updated or whatever you want to say it, but it's probably going to go more traditional. I've always been on that kind of side of the fence. You know, we're not going to have feathers on our shoulders or anything like that. So we'll
feather boas around our necks.
What could a husky do?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. A dogtail or something. Yeah. I don't know. But
so give us a quick little take. So the C's changed. It's basically the same, a little bit different.
It's quite a bit different. The coloring and the shaping of it's different. And we'll have an all-black helmet. And uniforms will look pretty similar. I mean, those are pretty basic, but the helmet will be considerably different. And I think probably a lot of the kids are a little disappointed not having the two-tone. But when we kind of decided we had to change the C, we thought, well, let's just, let's mix it up. If we're going to do the C, we might as well do everything. So
you're still going to have the all-black unis, though.
Oh yeah, won't change that. That's a staple right there.
Yeah, that one, yeah, exactly. You can't play the Darth Vader music without all-black uniform.
Exactly, that's 100% true.
Well, yeah, I think you guys were ahead of the curve when you had the two-tone helmets. I think a lot of teams are now just going to it. You guys did it, set the tone, and now you're going on to the next.
Now we're going on, yeah. We're kind of going back more traditional, like I said, more to what the helmets were when we first started Centennial with the all-black.
Well, we'll have to see how much of a fashion school that they are, because we'll see how the other schools follow that. Because I mean, the uniforms have just gone wacky, man. I see so much stuff now; it's ridiculous. You go look at the Oregon State's uniforms, and now I see high schools with those loud uniforms. It's hard to look at.
You know, and it's not cheap. I mean, the uniforms are expensive, and so I like when teams have we always laugh when teams have like two different colored pants. We're like, ooh, that's a big deal, because we have one pair of pants. That's it, one color pants, because we can't afford to have. You got 100 guys on a team. That's 200 pairs of pants you got to have. You got to have more than 200, because you never have the right amount of sizes. So you got to have probably about 125 for 100 kids. So that means 250 pants or so for a kid. I mean, that's a lot of money at $60-70 a pop.
And then Ted Watkins tells us at the end of last season that they have 3 sets of pants and 3 jerseys. Yeah. They've got 6. They got 9 different uniform options.
9 combos. That's good for them. I think that's great. I've always believed that hey, we're going to spend money in the areas where it's going to help us win games. So our money goes to the weight room and equipment that we can use on the field. Hopefully we don't have extra money. That's for sure.
Well, we've definitely taken up a lot of your time. You've given us a lot of valuable information.
Especially the houndstooth.
I mean, really.
I mean, that was.
I just know that I can make them now. I wasn't going to till my sister's kind of a seamstress, and I said I'll let you know as soon as I find out if I can do it.
I heard the green light. So
I heard green light too. Just for one game, man, it'd be great. You'd definitely get on H's Game Time with those shorts.
Oh yeah, for sure. Keep them nice and warm, as you said. Hopefully after a deep playoff run, and maybe into December as well as the state playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully we're playing in December, so that'll be a good thing.
I won't doubt that.
Yes. All right, the great Matt Logan from Centennial High School. We really appreciate your time. We do. You're one of our favorites, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
We're excited about this daunting schedule you guys have lined up, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, we are too. It'll be fun.
Don't be a stranger, Coach.
All right,
Thanks so much.